Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. India's MeToo moment, sexual harassment being called out across social media.
He thought I was a woman like that. And that sent me into a crisis for many days because I couldn't understand what my colleagues, male colleagues and male seniors were thinking of me.
Jamal Khashoggi was last seen at the Saudi consulate, but he's reportedly not there. And he's not at home with his fiancée. So where is he? And New York's Pied Piper of raccoons, the mysterious man charming trash pandas with tunes. On top of our newsfeed, MeToo in India. There's been huge momentum in the past few days after a female comedian there accused a male comedian on Twitter of sexually harassing her. That led to more and more women telling their stories of harassment and assault carried out by men across industries like entertainment, film, music and journalism. We spoke to one reporter who's added her voice to this moment.
So this is a reporter from another newsroom, a male reporter. He direct messaged me and propositioned me very explicitly. He basically just asked for sex. I couldn't understand why he was doing that because we didn't have any context, any relationship. And I told him several times to stop asking me for sex. He wouldn't. And then when he finally stopped, he ended with the comments that he thought I was a woman like that. And that sent me into a crisis for many days because I couldn't understand what my colleagues, male colleagues and male seniors were thinking of me, why they might have thought that I was a woman like that. Subsequently, I had conversations with many women, women in my newsroom, women in other newsrooms, senior women, juniors, and apparently this man has been going around town. He really has been working the list of women journalists in Delhi and explicitly just propositioning them for sex. But I kept quiet about this in the sense I was talking about this with other women, but I wasn't speaking publicly about this for about a year and a half. And then last week, I think things really came to a head and I finally tweeted about it. In my case, this person has not contacted me. His newsroom set up a committee and they are investigating allegations made against him. In India, there are laws that exist to deal with sexual harassment in the workplace, but the laws are very problematic. In fact, the laws are kind of designed by default to victimize victims and prop up and perpetuate the status quo as far as perpetrators are concerned. So the law is not designed in a way that is friendly or amenable to victims and to women to come out. So that is why due process, formal due process has really failed in India and women are doing this. So I think what's happening already and what is going to happen is that a lot of women are going to start approaching their formal committees for whatever it's worth. A lot of newsrooms, and I know that a lot of editors are now taking this seriously. They've realized that, various things that are written in the law, such as educating your newsroom about the law and about how to make complaints, hasn't been happening in Indian newsrooms. And I know of a lot of editors who are now taking this seriously and they're going to do it. A couple of women journalists who I know and I respect very much have been coming together now over the last couple of days. We're really trying to put together resources. What we've seen with this Me Too is that there's been a lot of clustering. So a lot of women thought that they were alone or that they'd had a one-off, incident of sexual abuse with these men in media. But what's happening is now suddenly, 6 women have come out about the same man. And apart from all of that, women are just speaking out like there's no tomorrow. And whether or not newsrooms react, whether or not the law is equipped to deal with it, women are just speaking out.
Now, many commentators are calling this India's Me Too moment, and you can see why. Now, the political editor of one of India's largest newspapers, the Hindustan Times, has resigned after allegations surfaced that he had made sexual advances to female colleagues by text message. And 2 of the co-founders of a leading comedy production house will be stepping down until further notice over allegations of sexual misconduct. And Phantom Films, which produced many Bollywood movies and Netflix programs, was closed just days before allegations were made against one of its directors. And several newsrooms have launched internal investigations after allegations that a number of male journalists behaved inappropriately towards their female colleagues.
A year since that global movement started, hundreds of Indian women are finally saying Me Too. Over the last few days, you've got many women who've taken to social media to share their own experiences of sexual harassment. They've made allegations against actors, directors, writers, authors, as well as high court judges. And what started with 1 or 2 tweets by 1 or 2 women has now turned into a massive movement with women from all walks of life coming out and saying Me Too. Too. You've got Rituparna Chatterjee, a journalist who's been writing about a lot of these instances. She says, to give you a sense of the magnitude of the problem, she's got a list with over 100 men named in it. She's saying, I'm not going to make it public. This isn't a witch hunt, but she's saying there will be proper follow-ups and reiterating that this, in fact, is India's Me Too moment. Nishta Gautam, someone saying, I found at least 5 men that I knew who were named on some of these lists. They're all lovely, smart, sharp men. She said, I had, however, no reason to doubt the testimonies that named them. Just because they didn't pour me doesn't necessarily mean they didn't do it, saying once again that believe the women who've taken the courage to speak out. You've got a lot of lawyers who are stepping forward as well, saying, let us help you. We're here to offer you any kind of free help you need. Like Veera here saying, get in touch with me if you need any kind of pro bono help in Delhi, and reiterating the fact that we're listening, we believe you, and let's take this beyond just naming and shaming. Let's hold some sort of accountability to the men who've been accused of sexual harassment. Neha Dixit saying the first step towards fixing a problem is to acknowledge it. If the trauma inflicted has roots in patriarchy, male entitlement, sexism, misogyny, it is sexual harassment, it will have to be called that as well. Essentially responding to a lot of defenses coming in from a lot of men saying we are afraid to even speak to women at the workplace anymore. And finally, this cartoon that sums it all up, the writing on the wall as far as men in India are concerned.
Now, Jamal Khashoggi went missing exactly a week ago. The Saudi journalist went into his country's consulate here in Istanbul and never came out. Now, he's not been heard from, not by his fiancée, his friends, his employer, no one. No one has seen him since he went in. The Saudis say he left the consulate, but that has been disputed by Turkey, and there's been no sign of him from the numerous security cameras that are trained on the building. Now, TRT World's Omar Awolafi is following this story and says that both Khashoggi and his fiancée were suspicious of what may happen when he went to the consulate last week.
She told the Washington Post that he was worried he may not be allowed to leave, and that Khashoggi left his phone with her along with instructions that she should call a member of Turkey's governing party if anything happened to him. Both Reuters and the Post say that unnamed Turkish sources reported that Turkey believes Khashoggi was killed inside the consulate, but no solid evidence has been given. I spoke with Yasin Atkay, the advisor to the chair of the AK party, who confirmed that security video shows Khashoggi enter the building, but he never left in a, quote, normal way. He did list some possibilities, including that the journalist may have been killed and extracted from there, or carried out and put into a car with tinted windows. The consulate gave journalists a tour of each room of the building, and officials even opened up cupboards and cabinets to show that there wasn't any hiding places. So where did he go? The Washington Post, quoting 2 Turkish sources, say that a 15-member Saudi kill team was sent specifically for the murder. So where is the body? The New York Times interviewed Turan Kislakci, a friend of Mr. Khashoggi and the head of the Turk Arab Media Association, who said the Turkish police who provided security for the consulate checked their security cameras and didn't see Mr. Khashoggi leave the consulate on foot. But he and others said that diplomatic cars had been moving in and out of the consulate since Tuesday. The Saudi Crown Prince, known as MBS, has been directing the kingdom's recent crackdowns, targeting many forms of opposition or dissent. Clerics, journalists, women's rights activists, and academics have been arrested in large numbers. If proven, this could be a huge development in both Turkey-Saudi relations and the kingdom's strained alliance with the West. MBS told Bloomberg News that Khashoggi left the consulate shortly after arriving Tuesday, but still hasn't provided any evidence or video showing that he ever left. Khashoggi just wasn't another dissident journalist. He was close to the Saudi establishment for decades, an editor for Saudi news outlets, and even advised a former Saudi intelligence chief. He was an insider, and his self-imposed exile in America made him a hard-to-reach target. Before leaving the kingdom in 2017, he said that the Saudi government ordered him to stop using Twitter, where he had amassed a following of nearly 1.7 million followers, after he tweeted that the kingdom's leaders shouldn't be so enthusiastic about the then President-elect Donald Trump. This could also put additional stress on the already strained US-Saudi relationship. The country's lawmakers have been vocal against the kingdom's actions in Yemen, where Saudi-led airstrikes have killed countless civilians, and most recently dropped a 227-kilogram laser-guided bomb made by Lockheed Martin on a school bus full of children. But we are all still waiting for the official results of Turkey's investigation into Khashoggi's disappearance.
Right, let's take you around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Tuesday. Victoria Maranova was found murdered in the Bulgarian city of Ruze over the weekend. Last night, hundreds came out to pay their respects in the capital, Sofia, as she had recently been reporting on alleged fraud involving EU funds and Bulgarian businessmen and politicians. She's the third journalist to be killed in the EU in the last 12 months. All those killed have been reporting on some form of corruption in high office. A person has been detained in connection with the crime. Hit me up on Google+. Words rarely heard and now resigned to the history of things few people ever said. Google's attempt to compete with Facebook will be shut down. It's been revealed that the data of 500,000 people may have been compromised over a 4-year period. Now, Google didn't reveal the flaw, which they fixed in March, as they were concerned about the whole Facebook Cambridge Analytica thing and didn't want too much regulatory scrutiny, according to reporting by the Wall Street Journal. And Facebook's first physical device is available to pre-order from today. If you want the social network to know even more about you than it already does, why not get one of these? It's called a portal and is basically a home assistant like Alexa. Actually, Alexa is included, but it does have one clever stroke creepy USP. It's designed to be great for video calls on Facebook Messenger, of course, and has a neat camera that will track you if you have to get up from the couch while you're chatting with your aunt. Hacks and data leaks come as standard. Now, the town of Riace in southern Italy was known once for only its ancient bronze statues, but now it's making history for a very modern reason: refugees and migration. Now, those that come to the town are given a chance to integrate and have basically turned the economy around in an aging, dying town. But now, the mayor has been placed under house arrest on charges of aiding illegal immigration, and thousands have come out to protest.
La speranza non si può arrestare.
Abbiamo bisogno di un mondo di modello Riace che ha messo al centro del suo operato il rispetto della dignità dei diritti delle persone, non parcheggiando i profughi o non utilizzando il sistema per alimentare una sorta di merce di scambio.
All right, step aside the Avengers and Justice League and make way for the hijab heroes. This group of young women dressed up as characters from the Marvel universe with one small twist, as you can see, at the New York Comic Convention. They even won a prize for their cosplay. Now, Marvel haven't yet created a hijab-wearing character, but do have a few Muslim ones. The most high-profile one is called Ms. Marvel, real name Kamala Khan. And finally, this guy is known as the Pied Piper of New York for his melodic tunes that draw out not rats or children, but raccoons. It's from a little while ago, but we had to share it with you because, of course, the internet can't get enough. Not much of a tune. That's all from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again tomorrow.